In a quiet corner of the galaxy, on a small research station orbiting the icy moon of Verelis 9, a young man named Kalen sat alone, staring at a faded image on his screen. It showed a planet blue, green, swirling with clouds. Earth, a world. No one believed in anymore. To most, Earth was just a myth. A bedtime story told to scare kids. Be good, or the humans will come. But Kalen knew better. He had spent years digging through old data, broken signals, and forgotten archives. He believed humans were real. And now something was stirring. In the dark. But tonight, he wasn't thinking about ancient wars or lost civilizations. He was thinking about her Dot. Her name was Mara. She had lived next door on Verelis Prime, the only one who ever listened when he talked about the stars, about the old myths, about the silence that came after the fall of Earth. She laughed when others mocked him. She said, "Maybe the humans are still out there. Maybe they're just waiting." Then her family moved. No warning, no goodbye. Just a note slipped under his door. Gone to Proxima Station. I'll message you. But she never did. Days passed. Then weeks. Kalen sent messages, but they bounced back. Recipient not found. He asked around. No one knew where she went. It was like she vanished into the void. Now, sitting in the dim light of the observation deck, Kalen felt the weight of distance, not just between stars, but between hearts. He missed her voice, her smile, the way she tilted her head when she was thinking. He wanted to tell her about the signal he found, the deep space pulse from the Sol system. It matched nothing known in the galactic database, but it had a pattern, a rhythm, like a heartbeat. If you were here, he whispered, to the stars, you'd believe me? But she wasn't here, and he didn't know how to reach her. Kalen wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was just a quiet man with a big dream and a broken comlink. But every night he stared at the stars and wondered, what if humans were real? What if they came back? What if just once they showed the galaxy that even the smallest voice could echo across the dark? Maybe that was why he kept searching. One night, as he reviewed the signal again, something changed. The pulse shifted. It wasn't random anymore. It formed a sequence. A message. He ran it through the decoder. The words appeared slowly, letter by letter. This is Archive Prime, Sol System. Human AI network reactivating. Defense grid online. All hostile forces will be neutralized. We remember. We return. Kalen's breath caught Dot. It couldn't be real. But the data was clean. The source -Earth. His hands trembled. He wanted to laugh, to cry, to scream. Instead, he thought of Myra. She would have loved this. And then a deeper thought came. Maybe I'm not just a historian. Maybe I'm a witness. Maybe I'm supposed to tell someone. But who? He looked at the broken system, at the empty chair beside him, at the silence where her voice used to be. He missed her, not just because she was gone, but because she understood. She saw wonder where others saw nonsense. She believed in stories. And now, the greatest story of all was coming true. The next day, Kalen stood before the Council of Verelis, holding a data crystal. The humans, he said, voice shaking, are not gone. Their fleet is waking up. I have proof. The elders laughed. One said, you've been reading too many myths, boy. Another added, humans were violent, dangerous. If they return, they'll destroy us all. Kalen didn't argue. He played. The signal. Silence filled the chamber. Then the hologram appeared, the blue-green planet, the fleet rising from the shadows, the words burning in starlight. We remember. We return. No one spoke. Kalen looked at them, not with anger, but with sorrow. You fear them, he said, but you don't know them. No one does. Not really. But I think I think they weren't destroyers. I think they were protectors. He paused. And maybe, he said softly, they're exactly what this galaxy needs. Still, the council hesitated. That night, Kalen sat again under the stars. He opened a new message. This time, he didn't send it to a dead address, but he uploaded it to the Galactic Pulse Network, a public broadcast used by explorers, dreamers, and drifters. The message was simple. Mira, I don't know if you can hear this. I don't know where you are, but something incredible is happening. The humans, they're real, and they're coming back. I wish you were here. But if you're out there, look up. The sky is about to change. And I hope you see it. And I hope you know I never stop believing. Just like you taught me. He pressed send, then he waited. Days passed, no reply. Kalen kept working. He tracked the fleet's movements. Silent, fast, unstoppable. Where they went, war ended. Empires that enslaved others collapsed overnight. No battles. No speeches. Just peace enforced by presence. The galaxy began to whisper. The humans are back. And then, one quiet morning, his com pinged. A message. From Proxima Station. It sighed. Kalen, I got your message. I've been here all along. They blocked my comms when we arrived. Security protocol. I thought you'd forgotten me. But you didn't. You found the truth. I always knew you would. Look outside. My station just picked up a signal from Sol. It's not just a fleet, Kalen. It's a warning and a promise. The humans aren't just legends. They're real. And they're not alone anymore. Tears filled his eyes. He ran to the observation deck. And there, in the distance, a new star blinked to life. Not a star. A ship. Massive. Silent. Gliding through the dark like a shadow. With purpose. Kalen smiled. He wasn't alone. She wasn't gone. The humans? They weren't just legends. The silence after Mara's message was not empty. It was full of breath, of hope, of a heart beating too fast. Kalen sat in the dim glow of his console, staring at the words she had sent. I always knew you would. He read them again and again, as if the letters themselves could prove she was real, that she remembered him, that she hadn't forgotten the boy who once dreamed aloud under the twin moons of Virelis. But now, the dream wasn't just his. It was real, and it was growing. The signal from Sol had strengthened. The human fleet, once a myth, now a confirmed presence, had moved past Mars. Their formation was perfect. No chatter on the comms, no diplomatic hails. Just motion, purpose, power. And yet, Kalen felt something strange. They weren't attacking. They were watching. Like guardians. Like keepers of an old promise. He thought of Mira again. She was on Proxima Station, still too far to reach by ship, still separated by months of travel. But now, at least, they could talk. Their messages grew longer. She told him about life on the edge of human space. The station had gone quiet when the first warship passed by. How the lights flickered, not from damage, but from the sheer energy of its passage. How no one slept that night, staring out the viewports, wondering if it would turn and strike. But at DIDN, single quotes T. It kept going, like a storm that passed. Without rain. Myra wrote, They're not here to destroy. They're here to remind. Kalen smiled. That sounded like something she would say. Still, distance weighed on him. Not just the millions of kilometers between them, but the years lost. The birthdays missed. The quiet moments that could never be reclaimed. He wanted to see her. To hear her laugh in person. To say, I told you so. Not with pride, but with joy. But space was vast. And time unkind. One evening, as he reviewed new sensor logs, Kalen noticed something odd. A small probe, human design, but not military had detached from the main fleet. It wasn't heading toward any planet. It wasn't armed. Instead, it drifted on a slow looping path through dead space. And it was broadcasting, not a weapon signal. Not a warning music, not faint, broken by static, but unmistakable. A melody played on strings and soft voices. A lullaby, perhaps. Or a song of remembrance. Kalen played it again and again. Then he noticed the data stream beneath it, hidden in the harmonics. A message, encoded not in words, but in patterns. He ran it through the decoder. It wasn't for governments. Not for fleets. It was for people. To those who remember us. To those who kept the light alive when the stars went dark. We see you. We hear you. You are not alone. Kalen froze. His eyes burned. They knew. Not just about the fleets, the wars, the old betrayals. They knew about the quiet ones. The believers. The ones who held on. Like him. Like Mira. Like everyone who ever looked up and whispered, I think they were real. He sent the message to her at once. Her reply came quickly. They're not just a force. They're a people. And they're saying, thank you. And then she added, Kalen. I applied for a research transfer. Back to Viralis. It's a long shot. But I want to come home. His breath caught. Home. She called it home. Not Proxima. Not the station. Home. The days that followed were different. Kalen didn't just study the fleet. He began to talk to the galaxy about it. He started a public log, the human archive, where he shared everything. The music, the signals, the truth behind the exile. He told the story of Earth, of how humans were framed, how they were driven out, not because they were monsters, but because they were strong, united, unbreakable. And how, in the end, they chose silence over war, going into hibernation, waiting. For a time when the galaxy might be ready to listen, people began to respond, not just scientists, not just dreamers. Families, children, artists. One message read, my grandfather said humans were cruel, but maybe he was wrong. Maybe they were just hurt. Another, I named my ship Echo, after the silence that follows truth. Kalen printed that one and taped it to his wall. He wasn't just a historian anymore. He was a bridge between past and present, between stars and hearts, between him and Myra. Then, one morning, the fleet moved again, not toward war. The day Mira landed, the sky changed. Not with storms or fire, but with light. As her transport touched down at Viralis Prime Docking Bay 7. A soft golden glow spread across the clouds, reflected from the orbiting human warship, now drifting. Lower, as if watching. Its silhouette was dark and silent, but its presence felt like a held breath. Like something ancient had leaned forward to see what would happen next. Kalen stood at the gate, heart pounding. He had rehearsed what to say. Welcome. Back. I missed you. You were right all along. But now, with the moment here, words felt too small. Then the hatch opened, and there she was. Taller, calmer. Her eyes the same deep brown that used to light up when he told her about the stars. Stepped forward. And smiled. Not a big smile. Not a loud one, but the kind that said, I remember you. I never really left. Hey, she said. Hey, he answered. And just like that, the distance, the years, the silence, the loneliness didn't vanish, but it softened. Like frost under morning light, they walked together through the city, not saying much at first, just breathing in the same air, hearing the same wind, feeling the same ground beneath their boots. It was enough. Later, they sat on the old bench beneath the silver trees, the one near the edge of the research district, where they used to talk for hours about myths and stars, and what might be hiding in the dark. Mira looked up. There's really one up there? She asked. Kalen nodded. It's been in orbit for 3 days. No movement, no signals. Just watching. Protecting, she said softly. He looked at her. You always saw it clearer than I did. She smiled. You found the truth. I just believed in you. A quiet settled between them, not awkward, but full. Like two pieces of a broken song, finally playing in harmony again. That night, Kalen showed her everything. His logs, his recordings. The human lullaby. The supply drops. The messages hidden in sound and silence. Mira listened carefully, her eyes wide not with shock, but with wonder. They're not conquerors, she said. They're keepers. Yes, Kalen said. They could destroy entire fleets in seconds. But instead, they fixed a water plant on a dead moon. They left medicine on a war-torn world. They didn't even land. Just helped and left. Myra turned to him. And you were the first to tell the galaxy about them. I just shared what I found. But you believed, she said, when no one else did. That's not just luck, Kalen. That's human. He blinked. What? She gestured to the stars. The humans, we never met them. But from the stories, the data, the way they act. They don't fight for power. They protect the weak. They remember the forgotten. They come back for the ones who waited. She looked at him. That's not just what they are. It's what you are. Kalen felt something warm rise in his chest. He hadn't thought of it that way. He wasn't strong, not a warrior, not a leader, but he had kept searching, kept hoping, kept believing even when the world laughed out. And now, because of that, people were changing their minds. Not just about humans. But about hope. In the days that followed, something shifted. The human fleet didn't attack. It didn't speak. But it responded. When a mining colony on the edge of the Ander Belt lost power during a solar storm, a human drone appeared silent, fast, and restored the core reactor. Etched into its hull, in Old English, hold on, help is coming. When? A child's drawing, a crayon sketch of a human ship with a smiling face, was broadcast on a public channel. The warship in orbit above Virelis tilted slightly. Just once. Like a nod, people began to leave offerings at observation points notes. Flowers, small models of ships. One raid. Thank you for coming back. Another. We won't forget you again. Kalen and Myra watched it all from the research deck, side by side. This isn't just about them, Myra said. It's about you, what we choose to believe in. Kalen nodded. Maybe the real miracle isn't that the humans returned. What is it then? He looked at her. That we were ready to see them. Then came the message. Not from the fleet, not from the galaxy, not from Earth. A single pulse, sent directly to Kalen's terminal, traced through layers of encryption, rooted through dead relays, like a whisper finding its way home. He opened it with shaking hands. It was a video. Black, at first. Then light. A beach. Waves. A sky with two suns, artificial, but real. People walking. Laughing. Rebuilding. The caption. Read to the believers. Earth is waking. The long silence ends. We return not to rule, but to remember, and to thank those who never forgot. At the end, a flag rose not with force, but with wind. Blue, green, white, the planet, whole again. Kalen cried. Mira put her hand on his. We're part of this, she whispered. He looked at her. We always were. That evening, they stood outside, under the open sky. The human warship above pulsed once a soft, blue light, like a heartbeat. Then, for the first time, it moved, not away, but closer. It descended slowly, not to land, but to hover just above the atmosphere, like a guardian taking its place. And from every city, every station, every world touched by the myth, people looked up. Not in fear, Not in anger, not in hope. Kalen turned to Myra. I was so afraid I'd lost. You, he said quietly. When you left, I didn't know how to reach you. I thought, maybe you'd forget me, like everyone else did. Mira shook her head. I never forgot. I just couldn't find my way back, until now. She took his hand. And you know what? Maybe that's what the humans teach us. That distance doesn't mean gone. That silence doesn't mean empty. That as long as someone remembers, the light never really goes out. Kalen squeezed her hand. Above them, the stars shimmered. And in the quiet, among the echoes of a returning fleet, two hearts beat as one. His silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full of meaning. After Myra returned, life on Virellus Prime changed not. All at once, but like a slow sunrise. People began to look up more. Not just scientists or dreamers, but children, workers, elders, everyone. Because now, every night, the human worship hung in the sky like a quiet promise. But even in peace, distance still finds a way. Kalen noticed it first in small things. Myra was busy. She had joined the new Interstellar Archive project, working with recovered human data. She spent long hours decoding old messages, translating lost languages, helping the galaxy understand who the humans truly were. And Kalen was proud. So proud. But sometimes when he walked past her window and saw her bent over her screen, her face lit by soft blue light, he felt a quiet ache. Not because she was far, but because he didn't know how to reach her the way he used to. They still sat on the silver bench, still shared tea under the stars, still laughed at old jokes. But something had shifted. Not in love, never that, but in connection. Like two rivers that once flowed together, now ran side by side, close, but not quite touching. He wanted to say something. To tell her how much he valued her, how her belief had carried him through the lonely years. But the words stuck in his throat. What if she thought he was sad? What if she thought he didn't understand her work? So he stayed quiet, and the silence grew. One evening, as he reviewed a new data stream from Earth, he found something strange. Buried in the signal, not in words, but in rhythm, was a pattern. A sequence of pulses that didn't match any known code. He ran it through the analyzer. It wasn't a message. It was a song. Simple. Slow. Played on an old instrument called a piano. The title, translated, For the Ones Who Waited. Kalen listened once. Then again. Tears came without warning. Because the song wasn't for armies. Not for leaders. Not for history. It was for people. For the ones who stood alone. Who believed without proof. Who kept a light burning in the dark. For him. For Myra. For everyone who had ever felt too small to matter. And in that moment, he realized something. The humans didn't speak much. They didn't need to. They showed their care in quiet acts, in hidden messages, in the way their ships hovered like guardians above broken worlds. And maybe that was the lesson. Not to wait for the perfect words, but to show what you feel. The next day, Kalen didn't go to the research center. Instead, he went to the old cum tower on the northern ridge, the one that had once linked Virellus to distant colonies. It was broken now, abandoned, but he had spent months fixing it in secret. He powered it on, connected his terminal, and sent a signal, not to Myra's device, but into the open air. A simple broadcast. First, he played the human song, for the ones who waited. Then his voice, soft but clear. Myra, I don't know if you'll hear this. Maybe you're working. Maybe you're tired. But I needed you to know. I see you. I see how hard you work. How much you care. And I don't want you to think I don't notice. I do. Every day. When you smile at a child who asks about Earth. When you stay up late to translate a single line of human text. When you look up at the ship and whisper, "Welcome home." I miss the old days sometimes. But I love the new ones more. Because now, we're not just remembering the humans. We're becoming like them. Quiet, steady, full of hope. And never giving up on the ones we care about. So this is my signal. My small light in the dark, like they did for us. I'm here, I remember, I believe. And I'm not letting go. He sent it once. Then again. On loop, like a heartbeat. He didn't go home. He sat on the tower's edge, wrapped in a coat, staring at the sky. Hours passed. Then, a light. Not from the stars, not from the path below. A figure walked up the ridge. Mira. Her hair danced in the wind. Her eyes were bright, not with sadness, but with something deeper. Love, understanding, connection. Sat beside him. Didn't speak at first. Just took his hand. Then softly, I heard it. He nodded. The silence had become a language. Not empty, not cold, but full of meaning. After Kellen's broadcast, after Myra's return, after the human ship lit up the sky with a single glowing handprint, life on Virellus Prime didn't just change, it softened. People spoke more kindly, listened more closely, looked up more often. Even the wind seemed gentler. But distance doesn't always come from miles. Sometimes it grows in the quiet moments, when one person is lost in thought and the other doesn't know how to reach them. Lyra, Myra's younger sister, had returned from the outer colonies just weeks ago. She had been away for 5 years, studying climate restoration on a dying moon. When she left, she was a girl with braids and a love for drawing stars. Now, she was a woman with tired eyes and a silence that didn't match her smile. Mira was overjoyed to have her back, but something was off. They lived in the same house, shared meals, walked the same paths, but Lyra rarely spoke. When she did, it was about work, data, systems, never about how she felt, never about the years apart, never about why her messages had stopped. Mira tried to talk to her, asked about her journey, her friends, her dreams. Lyra would smile and say, "I'm fine, just tired." But Myra knew that look. It was the same one she'd worn when she first left Virellus, when the weight of being far from home pressed down every night like gravity. She missed her sister. Not just her presence, but her heart, and she didn't know how to find it. One evening, as they sat on the porch beneath the silver trees, Mira watched Lyra stare at the sky. The human warship floated above, calm and still, its lights pulsing in slow rhythm like a heartbeat from the stars. "You see it every night," Mira said, gently. "Do you think they were really like us?" Lyra didn't look at her. "They were stronger." "What do you mean?" "They didn't break," Lyra said. "When the galaxy turned on them, they didn't fall apart. They waited. They came back. They helped." She finally turned. "We don't do that. We just leave. We disappear. We stop talking." Myra's chest tightened. "I'm sorry I didn't." "Right," Lyra whispered. "I wanted to. But every time I tried, I didn't know what to say. I felt forgotten, like no one missed me, like I wasn't important enough to keep in touch with." Myra reached for her hand. "You were always important." "But I didn't feel it," Lyra said, voice breaking. "And the longer I stayed away, the harder it was to come back. I thought, maybe I don't belong here anymore." Mira didn't answer right away. She thought of Kalen, how he had sent a message into the sky just to reach her. How the humans, after 10,000 years of silence, still found a way to say, "We remember." Maybe words weren't the only way to speak. Maybe love could be shown in other ways. The next day, Mira didn't talk. She did. She went to the old art shed, the one their mother had used before she passed. Dust covered the shelves. Canvases leaned against the wall, half finished. She cleaned it. Then she found Lyra's old sketchbook buried in a drawer, full of drawings from when she was 12, stars, ships, a blue-green planet labeled Earth. In messy handwriting, Myra smiled. She took the sketchbook to the center of the room, and she began to paint not on canvas, on the walls. She painted. Earth blue and swirling with clouds. She painted the human fleet silent, strong, returning. She painted two sisters, standing under a sky full of light. And in the corner, she wrote, "Home is not a place. It's the people who wait for you." She didn't tell Lyra. She just left the door open and waited. That night, Lyra walked past the shed. Stopped. Looked inside, then stepped in. She didn't speak, but her eyes moved slowly over every stroke, every color, every word. And when she reached the painting of the two sisters, she touched it. A tear fell. Then another. Myra appeared at the door. "I didn't know how to tell you I missed you," she said. "So I showed you," Lyra turned. "You didn't have to." "I did," Myra said, "because I don't want you to ever feel alone again. You're not forgotten. You never were." Lyra stepped forward and hugged her. Not a quick one, but a long, deep hug, the kind that carries years of silence in a single squeeze. "I'm home," she whispered. "I know," Myra said. "And you're seen." The next morning, something new appeared in the sky, not from the human ship. From Earth. A signal sent directly to Verelis. When decoded, it was a message to the families reuniting, to the hearts healing. "We see you. We were broken once, too. We know what it means to come back. Keep the light on. We are with you." And below it a simple image, two human children, standing hand in hand, looking up at a star. Myra showed it to Lyra. Lyra smiled, really smiled for the first time in years. Then she said, "Can I help with the paintings?" Myra nodded. And together, they filled the walls with color. With memory. With hope. Weeks passed. The human fleet still watched. But now, other ships began to appear, not warships, but civilian vessels. Families returning. Exiles coming home. Strangers reaching out. The galaxy was learning, not from speeches, not from laws, from example. Kaylin and Myra started a new project, A Light Between Us. A network where people could share small acts of care messages, art, music sent into space, not for war, but for connection. And every night, the human ship responded. A pulse, a shift, a single light blinking in rhythm. Like a heartbeat. A promise. One evening, as the sisters sat on the porch, the sky glowed softly. Lyra leaned her head on Myra's shoulder. "I thought I had to be strong to come back," she said. "Like the humans, silent, unbreakable." Myra shook her head. "They're not unbreakable. They just chose to return. Even after everything." Lyra smiled. "Maybe that's what strong really means." "Yes," Myra said. "Not never falling, but coming back and letting someone help you up." Above them, the warship pulsed once slow, deep, like a breath, and for the first time, two more lights appeared beside it. Smaller, gentler, not like stars, joining a constellation. The galaxy was learning. Love didn't need to be loud. It just needed to be true. Asterisk every night, the human warship hung in the sky like a quiet guardian. And now, two smaller ships had joined it, drifting in gentle formation, their lights pulsing in rhythm with the people below. The galaxy called them the Watchers, not because they were feared, but because they saw. They saw the small things, the child who left a drawing by the observation window, the old man who played a flute under the stars, the woman who whispered, "I'm sorry," to a photo of her brother, lost in deep space. And somehow they answered. A soft light, a single tone, a shift in position, like a nod dot, but not everyone believed. Not yet. On the mining colony of Tarnus 7, far from Earth and the stories of return, life was hard. The air was thin. The work was long. And the people had stopped looking up. Among them was a man named Dane. He had once lived on Varellus Prime, grew up near the silver trees, knew Mira and Lyra when they were girls, even played with Kalin as a child, building model ships from scrap metal. But 10 years ago, his family moved for work, no farewell, no promise to stay in touch. Just a note, we're leaving at dawn. He never saw them again. At first, he sent messages. Then calls, then silence. He told himself they forgot him, that no one cared, that the world moved on without him. So he stopped looking back. He worked, ate, slept, said little. But every night, he stood at his window and stared at the same patch of sky where, as a boy, he had once pointed at a star and said, "That's where the humans are hiding." Now, that memory felt like a joke. Until the signal came. It wasn't loud. Wasn't aimed at leaders or governments. It was a simple broadcast, sent on an open frequency meant for anyone with a receiver and a heart. It began with music. A soft piano, the same melody Kalin had found months ago, for the ones who waited. Then a voice, Kalin's voice. To everyone who's ever felt forgotten, this is for you. We didn't know how to reach each other at first. We stayed quiet. We thought we weren't important. But someone showed us that even a small light can be seen across the dark. So we're sending this out, not just for the believers, but for the ones who stopped believing. You are seen. You are remembered. You are not alone. A second voice followed Myra's. If you're out there and you're missing someone, say it. Show it. Don't wait. The silence is not the end. It can be the beginning. Then Lyra's voice, soft and strong. We came back to each other. You can too. Dane sat frozen. His hands trembled. He hadn't heard those voices in 10 years. And now they were speaking to him, not in person, but in spirit, like a message from home. He played it again. And again. Each time, something cracked inside. Not pain. Recognition. They hadn't forgotten. He had. He had buried his past, thinking it didn't matter. But here it was returned, not with anger, but with care. And not just for him, for everyone like him. The ones who moved away, the ones who stopped writing, the ones who thought love faded with distance, but it hadn't. Dane didn't sleep that night. At dawn, he went to the old comms room in the mining hub. Dusty, forgotten, but the equipment still worked. He opened a channel. Not to Varellus, not to anyone specific. Just into the open air. And he spoke. His voice was rough at first, shy, but it grew stronger. Kalin, Myra, Lyra, if you can hear this, it's Dane. I don't know if you remember me. We were kids once. We built a ship from scrap and called it Hope. We said we'd fly it to Earth one day. I moved away. I didn't know how to stay in touch. I thought you forgot me. So I stopped trying, but I never stopped looking at the stars. And tonight, I heard your voices, and I realized I'm still that boy, and you're still my friends. I don't know if this message will reach you, but I needed to say it. I miss you. I'm sorry. I disappeared.